about animal husbandry and horse genitalia. Well, there's an epilogue to that story. Lamentably, a few days ago, I was at a party, and there was this couple there who really did breed dogs. And, because of the demand for thoroughbreds, dog breeders need to practice artificial insemination. They have to harvest the sperm from the male dogs with what they call manipulation. That euphemism is a good one. I didn't have the strength to ask the most effective way to do that. I'll research that on Google later. Just the image. But it was so funny to be in the room with them because the husband was saying, "Whose semen is that in the freezer? What semen? No, whose semen is that? There's no semen. What are you talking about?" And I'm just thinking to myself, everyone needs a hobby. and Guy over here said there must be entire manuals and entire classes, maybe even entire college majors on the subject of this kind of manipulation. And I know you're all going to go home and Google that later. I want to talk about something serious because, something tragic to me is probably funny to you. That's the spirit of comedy. I'm an atheist. I was over at, someone else here is too. Say it loud and say it proud. I was not long ago at a panel discussion about God and science. After it was over, this nice older gentleman, this Indian gentleman, comes up to me and he said, "I can tell you believe in God." I said, "No." He said, "Oh, you're confused." I said, "No." And he asked me how it is I don't believe in God, and I gave my standard response, which is, "Where is this God?" And he starts asking me all the usual questions, and I said, "How are you so sure that your God is the right one? How do you know your God is the one that exists and not Apollo or Ishtar or Quetzalcoatl or Thor or Amaterasu?" And he thinks for a minute. He goes, "Can you run those names by me again?" So I did. And, I'm not making fun of this guy. He was very nice, obviously very smart. And I understand that these people are only doing what they think is right. And there are times when it gets a lot uglier. Those of you who know me, I'm a writer. The rest of you are going, "Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. Take my leftovers." I was helping to critique this guy's book. It's a nonfiction book on the subject of dreams, psychology of dreams. And he used the word prehistoric in the context of dreams as our ancestry. And this one woman there, one of the critics, says, "Oh, you can't use the word prehistoric." I said, "Was that?" She said, "Oh, let me explain. You see, it's going to turn off people who don't believe in the prehistoric." I went, "What?" "This is a science book. You can't pander to that." And she said, "Well, now you're being really insensitive." And I'm thinking to myself, "Oh, I see. Well, I guess Carl Sagan was being a really insensitive monster when he did his billions and billions speech. This is not science, am I right?" Anyway, that's me on many levels. So the intelligent design proponents, when they're getting interviewed on TV, if you look up YouTube, intelligent design, it's good for a lot of unintentional humor. And one interviewer asked one of these women point blank, "So do you believe that humans and dinosaurs walked alongside each other in the Garden of Eden?" She couldn't give a straight answer because the answer is, hell yeah. And a lot of these people do really discuss the fact that dinosaurs lived among humans because there's no such thing as the prehistoric. And I think even the creators of the Flintstones didn't sincerely believe it. Same people who created the Jetsons. And they get very sneaky about creation science, which creationism is not science. Intelligence is neither, is what I always tell people. So these people do things like they map out how all the animals could fit on Noah's Ark, the dinosaurs too, naturally. I used to ask my Hebrew school teachers, what did Noah do with all sea animals. How do you fit the whales on Noah's Ark? Never a good answer to that. I guess the whales just kind of fended for themselves. Maybe that's why there's so many of them today. And they'll also say things like, oh, yes, we know dinosaurs and humans lived alongside each other because the Bible says so. God tells us that dinosaurs were known about, in human times, because it says right here they're describing this animal. But we didn't know that he was describing that animal until the dinosaur fossils were discovered. Before that, we just didn't quite get it. And, I figured, they want us to teach the controversy about evolution, because otherwise it's their story, right? If there's one hole in the Bible, then the jig is up. As far as they're concerned, it's black and white. It's the Word of God or not. So they want us to teach the controversy and teach creation science. So I figure, okay, well, if that's how they feel, and in the spirit of fairness and academic integrity, all right, we should present alternative theories to everything. We should put a disclaimer in geometry books and say that there's a theory that pi is exactly 3. Bring the evidence. You be the judge. Fox News. You decide. We should put in a disclaimer in history books that say there's a theory that the Holocaust never happened. Which is a growing movement, scary enough as that is. And I figure that the punishment fit the freaking crime. If you don't believe in evolution, quit freaking evolving. The next time you get a vaccine, get the old vaccine before that bacterium evolved. That'll lower your tree down quick. Now there's a Darwin Award. In practically every sense. Oh my gosh. And if you don't believe in science, okay, get rid of your car, get rid of your computer. Okay, keep the car. Henry Ford was an anti-Semite. Get rid of everything that is science. You shouldn't be allowed to benefit from science, and at the same time decry it. I've always believed that the worst punishment is to live out your own ideals. And I know a lot of people will say, Sarah, you're being very hard on religion, you shouldn't be so aggressive. But you know what? I'm being counter-aggressive. And I agree with people like Richard Dawkins who say it's time to stand up and fight back. And I'm like, hell yeah. I'm sick of putting up with this shit. I'm not going to tiptoe around anything in the name of respect. You can tell by my t-shirt. You guys can't see it, but it says, Islam is a religion. Kill anyone who says otherwise. Because if I wear a hilarious t-shirt, I figure people will laugh at me when I'm up here, even if I'm not funny. And to me, it's all the same, God, Santa Claus. I remember, asking a lot of my non-Jewish friends about when they stopped believing in Santa. And when I was a kid, my parents and my Hebrew school teachers told me not to ruin Santa for the kids who don't believe. So they taught us to say, Santa Claus doesn't come to my house, we're Jewish. Which is a good thing to say, but now it sounds like Santa's, anti-Semitic, right? No, I want presents too, I'm a normal American kid. And a lot of my non-Jewish friends have told me that 3rd grade is the magic year when you start to catch on. One friend of mine, I remember her telling me, she asked her mother point blank at that age, is there a Santa Claus? Mom looks at me and says, yes, he's in our hearts. And the girl says to her mom, so there's no Santa. The mom says, okay, yeah. Jig is up. And to me, that's what God is like. Okay, God is in our hearts, fine. Oh, is God real? No. That's how it is. And I just wanted to get that off my chest. There's something on my mind. And, I'm writing a book about this, so hopefully there'll be some material in it. Thank you so much, everyone.